Gildan Media, a division of Recorded Books, presents Who Wins in a Digital World? Strategies to Make Your Organization Fit for the Future by MIT Sloan Management Review. Narrated by Sean Pratt. Introduction. Who Wins in a Digital World? By Paul Michelman. Is your organization building the capabilities it will need to survive and thrive in a digital world? This may be the question of the moment for business leaders. It's certainly the question that will separate the companies that will prosper in this new world from those that will struggle or fail. Adapting a company to capitalize on the full potential of digital technologies and fend off the swarms of new competitors they enable requires a compelling vision, a tangible and engaging view of the future that people can believe in. Creating that vision requires identifying what success will look like in this new world and how your company can reach its goals while moving toward new definitions of achievement. We live in a world where the unknowns are never-ending. Thus, our ability to embrace the demands of change has become a prerequisite for success. This is true at both the individual level, for each of us as professionals, and at the organizational level, for the companies and institutions that we lead and work within. Change is not executed by a vision. It is executed by individuals. No matter how smart the strategy and how well articulated the plan, only people can bring about actual change. Given this reality, what strategies will it take to keep pace in today's environment? One in which individuals and businesses are expected to pivot repeatedly toward new ways of working. I think of this challenge along 3 dimensions. 1. The ability to be both flexible and focused. 2. The ability to evolve and to embrace all the messiness therein. And 3. The ability to move and adapt quickly. In this book, we've collected some of the best new thinking and research on these 3 topics. The authors draw insights and advice from real-world examples of how new companies are emerging from the digital soup and how legacy organizations are making the transition from the old ways of working to the new. In Part 1, we dive into the need for adaptability. In a changing world, an organization's capabilities are no longer just about what is required to be successful today. Instead, organizations, like people, need the ability to excel in what their roles will become as their competitive ecosystems evolve. Is your organization able to adopt new tools and strategies to succeed in the digital arena? In this section, we present 4 big-picture themes. 1. Don't confuse digital with digitization. Jeannie Ross, from the MIT Sloan School of Management's Center for Information Systems Research, argues that digitization is an important enabler of digital, but won't transform a business into a digital company on its own. Instead, companies must rethink their value propositions and focus on delivering a seamless, digitally enabled customer experience. 2. Is your company ready for a digital future? Peter Weil and Stephanie L. Warner, both of MIT's Center for Information Systems Research, lay out 4 pathways that businesses can take to become top performers in the digital economy, noting that leadership's role is to determine which pathway to pursue and how aggressively to move. 3. Turn strategy into results. Donald Sull, from the MIT Sloan School of Management, Stefano Turconi, from London Business School, Charles Sull, from the Charles Thames Strategy Partners, and James Yoder, formerly of Charles Thames, examine how leaders can translate the complexity of strategy into guidelines that are simple and flexible enough to execute. They advocate for developing a small set of priorities rather than trying to boil down strategy to a pithy statement. And 4. leading in a time of increased expectations. In a Q&A, Lynn J. Good, CEO of Duke Energy, talks about how big energy companies, which have traditionally focused solely on power generation, are increasingly becoming customer-centric. It's a change brought on by digitally empowered customers who are vocal about everything from where their energy should originate to when their bills should arrive. In Part 2, we explore the need for nerve. Does your organization have the appetite and desire and tenacity to evolve and try new things? Is it legitimately interested in charting a new future? In this section, we highlight specific strategies and mindsets. 1. Don't get caught in the middle. In this essay, I note that while there was once a time when middlemen were indispensable, technology is rendering such intermediaries obsolete. The real worth is increasingly found at the extremes of value chains and organizations, not at the center. 2. The best response to digital disruption. Jacques Bruguin, from McKinsey & Company, and Nicholas Vanzerbroek, from Solvay Brussels School of Economics and Management, explore why companies that adopt bold strategies in the face of industry digitization improve their odds of coming out winners. 3. Why your company needs more collaboration. My MIT Sloan Management Review colleague, David Kiron, draws from 3 separate research projects that MIT SMR conducted over 3 years for his finding that digitization demands an unprecedented focus on cooperation and collaboration. And finally, 4. Watch your cognitive technology strategy. Thomas H. Davenport from Babson College and Vikram Mahidar from Genpact note that, for many leaders, artificial intelligence and cognitive technologies are the most disruptive forces on the horizon, but most organizations still are looking for a strategy to address them. In Part 3, we explore the need for speed. Change usually requires a new speed, a higher gear than individuals and organizations are accustomed to, and this pace won't let up. Digital life moves faster. Can your organization shift gears to keep up? Some might argue that a focus on velocity can be counterproductive, that amid all this digital turmoil, considered decision-making is more important than ever. I believe that is a false argument. You must be able to move quickly and make smart bets at the same time. In this section, we lay out the best strategies for moving fast. 1. Building a more intelligent enterprise. Paul J. H. Shoemaker, formerly of the Mack Center for Technological Innovation at the Wharton School, and Philip E. Tetlock from the University of Pennsylvania, examine how managers can combine human intelligence with technology-enabled insights to make smarter choices in the face of uncertainty and complexity. 2. Creating management processes built for change. Christopher G. Worley from the Neoma Business School, Thomas Williams, an independent management consultant, and Edward E. Lawler, III, from the University of Southern California, lay out the ways that agile management processes can help organizations change. 3. Building the right ecosystem for innovation. Nathan Furr and Andrew Shipilov, both of INSEAD, discuss why, as companies grapple with uncertainty and change, they must collaborate in new ways with unlikely partners. And 4. Implement first, ask questions later, or not at all. Stephen J. Andriole, from the Villanova School of Business, explains that today's inexpensive cloud-based apps mean that emerging technology is piloted and adopted before its business requirements are understood, and there's no going back to the old leisurely days. Thinking along the 3 dimensions we outline in this book will make the challenges of change, especially ongoing change, more tangible. But that's not enough. We should all ask ourselves hard questions as we consider the inevitable transformations of our industries, our organizations, and our individual places in the digital world. Ask yourself, am I up for this, as a leader and as a participant? Can I do what it takes to succeed in a continually evolving environment? Will I? The kind of transformation we are experiencing in business today isn't easy for anyone. We don't work the way we did last year. Next year, we'll work and compete differently again. If your organization doesn't embrace the realities and requirements of change, you need to understand that it will be under siege from those that do. At the same time, I believe there's great energy and possibility in all this. Once you accept the truth that change is ongoing, change becomes more about opportunity and less about challenge. If you have the flexibility, the will to evolve, and the courage to shift up, change becomes stimulating and exhilarating and something to embrace. We hope this book will help get you to that point. Part 1. Be flexible. Keep focused. Chapter 1. Don't confuse digital with digitization. By Jeannie Ross. Digitization involves standardizing business processes and is associated with cost-cutting and operational excellence. In essence, it imposes discipline on business processes that, over the years, were executed by individual heroes in a variety of creative, but not always optimal, ways. SAP, PeopleSoft, and other integrated software packages that burst onto the scene in the 1990s helped lead the way into more digitizing, but it remains a painful process. Today, companies are confronting something new and different. Digital. Digital, of course, is an adjective. It refers to a host of powerful, accessible, and potentially game-changing technologies like social, mobile, cloud, analytics, Internet of Things, cognitive computing, and biometrics. It also refers to the transformation that companies must undergo to take advantage of the opportunities these technologies create. A digital transformation involves rethinking the company's value proposition, not just its operations. A digital company innovates to deliver enhanced products, services, and customer engagement. Digital is exciting, thrilling, and a bit unnerving. The problem is this. We have found that many business leaders are thinking of digital as advanced digitization, such as enhancing the customer experience with mobile technologies or implementing Internet of Things capabilities to improve operations. But becoming digital is a totally different exercise from digitizing. Companies today must become digital to compete in a world in which both end consumers and business customers expect products and services to meet their needs on demand across channels. In most industries, digital is already a business imperative. Digitization is an important enabler of digital, but all the digitization in the world won't, on its own, make a business a digital company. I would argue, in fact, that failing to distinguish increased digitization, even radically increased digitization, from a digital transformation could be a fatal mistake. Digitization is an operational necessity. The benefits of digitization are significant: efficiency, operational excellence, and predictability. For all the pain that it entails, digitization is an essential undertaking in companies. Without digitization, companies cannot scale. They cannot absorb the complexity of expanded product portfolios. They cannot personalize services. Disciplined, standardized business processes, where appropriate, ensure the accuracy and security of core transactions and back-office processes. They make data accessible and reliable. Most companies have grossly underestimated the challenge of digitization. Shedding habits, imposing discipline, has proved to be harder than business leaders imagined. In many cases, leaders have committed to digitization initiatives thinking they are funding new and better technology. Many didn't recognize that digitization requires a commitment to fundamental changes in how people work. Consequently, most digitization efforts cost more and generate fewer benefits than anticipated. MIT Sloan School of Management's Center for Information Systems Research, known by the acronym CISR, has found that only 28% of established companies have successfully digitized, despite more than 20 years of business digitization history. This is a problem because companies must be digitized if they hope to become digital. Without digitization, management's attention will be consumed with fixing whatever is going wrong today in a company's operations. There will be no time for innovation. Leaders won't have the resources to invest in a digital transformation or the operational excellence to support their digital value proposition. Digital is a customer-centric value proposition. To become digital, leaders must articulate a visionary digital value proposition. This value proposition must reassess how digital technologies and information can enhance an organization's existing assets and capabilities to create new customer value. Being digital is not just introducing mobile apps for customers. It is taking advantage of the opportunity to redefine a business, and possibly even an industry. Big, established companies have started to define visionary digital value propositions. Schneider Electric, headquartered in France, has moved beyond selling electrical products to providing energy management solutions. California-based management care consortium Kaiser Permanente views itself not as a healthcare provider, but as a patient-provider collaboration. BMW is not just an automobile manufacturer. It's a provider of individual mobility. Netherlands-based Philips has sold off multiple businesses, including its foundational lighting business, to focus on improving lives through healthcare innovation. These are bold strokes. They are risky. But the alternative is to try to succeed in a digital economy with a pre-digital value proposition. That could be the riskiest alternative of all. To become digital and pursue a digital vision, companies must define their digital offerings. They must embrace information-enriched customer solutions delivered as a seamless, personalized customer experience. Digital offerings are the specific solutions that deliver on a company's digital value proposition. The benefits of a successful digital transformation include growth in revenues and margins, undying customer loyalty, and the ability to attract top talent and thus continue to grow. Successful companies in the digital economy will be digital to provide customer value and digitized to provide for scale and efficiency. Although companies still struggle to digitize, what it means and how to do it are now well established. It's just hard to do well. How to be digital, in contrast, is less well established. Defining a value proposition that will attract customers who are actually willing to pay for a given solution is more art than science. 5 guiding principles for a digital transformation. If you want to get started on a digital transformation, I suggest you embrace 5 guiding principles. 1. Don't hand off responsibility for your digital transformation to your information technology or IT unit. This is a business transformation. If you think IT can make it happen, the game is over. 2. Do engage IT leaders in defining your vision and mapping your initiatives. Your embedded culture and structures will be your 2 biggest obstacles to your digital transformation, but your legacy IT systems are more likely a liability than an asset. IT leaders can help establish what's possible. 3. Bring in professional help. You wouldn't add a room to your house without consulting an architect, so make sure you understand that in trying to coordinate the business components, roles, structures, processes, and systems that will enable you to deliver digital offerings, You need professional business architects. Stop thinking of architecture as an IT issue and engage in developing your business architecture. 4. Be persistent and patient. Understand that you will need to invest time and money in your digital initiatives, just like venture capital companies invest in innovative businesses. The cost savings from digitization were easy to track. The new revenues from digital initiatives probably won't flow in quickly. Track some intermediate metrics like reuse and time to market. And 5. Prepare to co-create with customers. Unless you have Apple co-founder Steve Jobs' gift for anticipating what customers want, you'll need to engage them in the process of defining your offerings. Otherwise, you may never see those new revenues you're counting on. It'll take time to settle on a pattern of digital offerings that bring value to your customers and your business. It will take even longer to identify, build, and reuse business components so that new solutions can be easily configured. And for many companies, there is still much work to be done to ensure that they are sufficiently digitized to support a digital transformation. In short, your digital transformation will be a long journey. It's important to get started. Chapter 2. Is your company ready for a digital future? By Peter Weil and Stephanie L. Warner. In preparing for the future, many large, established enterprises are embarking on a digital business transformation journey, often without any sense of where they are going. In this article, we'll present 4 viable pathways for transformation and examine their pros and cons. However, the goal isn't digital transformation, but rather business transformation, using digital capabilities to transform a traditional enterprise into a top performer in the digital economy. We call such top-performing enterprises future-ready. In 2015 and 2017, we surveyed several hundred enterprises, examining both the capabilities needed for transformation and the impacts on performance. We also had conversations with more than 50 executives to learn about their experiences with digital business transformation. Respondents represented a wide variety of industries, with manufacturing, financial services, and IT software and services being the biggest groups. Based on our analysis, future-ready enterprises performed much better than their industry peers. But we also found that, even within a single industry, enterprises can take different paths to becoming future-ready. This article looks at 4 banks that have taken different pathways: Danske Bank, M-Bank, BBVA, and ING. Becoming future-ready. Becoming future-ready requires changing the enterprise on 2 dimensions: customer experience and operational efficiency. Future-ready. Future-ready enterprises are able to innovate to engage and satisfy customers while at the same time reducing costs. Their goal is to meet customers' needs rather than push products, and customers can expect to have a good experience no matter which service delivery channel they choose. On the operations side, the company's capabilities are modular and agile. Data is a strategic asset that is shared and accessible to all those in the company who need it. The enterprise is ready to compete in the digital economy and able to work with a wide variety of partners through both digital services and exposed application programming interfaces, or APIs. By these criteria, 23% of the businesses we surveyed were future-ready, shown in the upper right-hand quadrant of the exhibit. Their performance averaged 16 percentage points better than their industry average, meaning that if the average net profit margin for a company in a given industry was 8%, future-ready enterprises earned 24%. Silos and complexity. Of the companies we surveyed, 51% were in the bottom left quadrant, with an extensive catalog of products and services developed over many years. Their products and services are supported by a complex set of business processes, systems, and data. The result is a fragmented, labor-intensive, and frustrating customer experience, often made worse by product silos within the company. Frequently, the ability of such organizations to provide an engaging customer experience depends heavily on heroics by employees. For example, we watched one bank teller work with an elderly customer who wanted to change her address on 6 different bank products. The number of keystrokes required to make the necessary changes was dizzying. During a 20-minute encounter, the teller chatted amiably with the customer about the local sports team. An amazing effort, to be sure, but not scalable. It shouldn't be surprising that, in our survey, the profit margins of enterprises from this group were weak. They averaged 5 percentage points below their industry average. Industrialized. Companies characterized by digital industrialization, shown in the bottom right quadrant, apply the best practices of automation to their operations. They use the features that make them strong as an enterprise and turn them into modular and standardized, digitized services. For example, companies in this group pick the best way of handling each key task, for example, processing an insurance claim, onboarding a customer, or assessing risk, and deployed it across the enterprise. They configured their services into plug-and-play modules to meet particular customer requirements quickly and inexpensively. The consolidated data created from the customer interactions and operations can become a competitive asset that anyone involved in the enterprise can access. Over time, many of these processes and decisions can be automated. Of the companies we studied, 11% were in the industrialized group. Their net profit margins averaged 4.6 percentage points higher than their industry average. Integrated experience. Enterprises offering what we call an integrated experience, shown in the upper left quadrant, provide a better-than-industry-average customer experience despite having complex operations. Some of the companies emulated the industry-leading model epitomized by United Services Automobile Association, the USAA, the San Antonio, Texas-based financial services group. USAA is organized around addressing a customer's life events, for example, buying a house, having a baby, or preparing for retirement, rather than pushing products. We have seen companies that want to offer an integrated experience develop attractive websites and mobile apps and hire more relationship managers to improve the customer experience. Many attempt to improve the customer experience by investing in analytics. However, we have found that these enterprises typically are unable to simplify or automate the underlying and complex business processes, technology, and data landscape. As a result, they see their costs of serving customers increase. About 15% of enterprises we studied offered an integrated experience. Their net profit margins averaged 3.6 percentage points below their industry average. 4 pathways to transformation. We identified 4 different pathways that companies took to become future-ready. Each pathway begins in the bottom left quadrant, silos and complexity, and each involves significant organizational disruption. Pathway 1. Standardize first. Pathway 1 moves enterprises from the silos and complexity quadrant to the industrialized quadrant. This pathway relies on building a platform mindset with API-enabled business services that can be accessed across the enterprise and also externally. It enables an organization to eliminate many of its legacy processes and systems, but, as anyone who's been through an enterprise resource planning, customer relationship management, or core banking project will attest, replacing core processes in an enterprise is an expensive and multi-year undertaking. It also requires putting many other projects on hold. Cloud computing, APIs, Microservices and better solution architectures make this industrialization process quicker, less risky, and less disruptive. However, embarking on Pathway 1...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?